Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for attending our just-in-time webinar about finishing up the program. Um, Again, for both of y'all, if there's something where it spurs a question or a thought or an idea, definitely just let me know, unmute yourself, especially as I get to the end of a slide, and then we can talk about anything that I just went over. But thank you both so much for coming, and I hope this, answers some of the questions or at least clears some stuff up of things you might be wondering as you finish up the program. So jumping right in. Awesome. So here is just a first look at our extended program timeline. So these are our upcoming dates. So due today on Monday, the 29th is our reward opt-out form, which can be sent to customer care, as well as our just-in-time webinar, which is what y'all are attending right now. This week, this whole week until Sunday is considered cleanup week. So you will have this time to sell, trade, or transfer any remaining inventory. And we are also doing additional proceeds. So that's $2 proceeds per package of any package checked out on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday when we have our warehouse open from 12 to 4. So we do have special rules and stipulations about those cookies, but if you stop in and you're interested in that, you can always ask to see our form and guidelines. Continuing on, the digital cookie will turn off on Sunday, April 4th. And then right after that, we will have due for TCMs, any final rewards, submissions, your end of program report, your third ACH adjustment form if you have any parents that still owe money, as well as that delinquent account report, which again is used if you have parents that still owe money. So for any digital cookie orders that may come in on the Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we will have the North Central Warehouse open to pick up cookies for any of those digital cookie orders on April 6th and April 8th. So that'll be from 12 to 4 again. And those are only going to be for any of those digital cookie orders that you received that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then continuing on, we will have the third ACH sweep occur on the Thursday, April 8th, with the ACH notification email going out a week before on April the 1st. So that sweep will take place and it will be 100% of the remaining amount you owe council. And any troops and IRGs that are depositing to council will also have 100% due on that date as well. And then on the following Monday, that April the 12th, we will have due for CCMs the final rewards. So if you do make any mistakes submitting your rewards, your CCMs do have about a week to change any of those and then get them resubmitted. They will also be submitting their shipping address, their end of program report, and any delinquent account reports. So that's just there to keep in mind that after your due date, your CCMs do have about a week before all of their stuff is due. So definitely reach out to them if you have any reward issues, if you have any delinquent account issues, anything like that. And then our little note down here is that final rewards will ship to CCMs in mid-May. We will submit our reward order this week of April 12th. And we know Little Brownie Bakers is pretty quick about getting those rewards shipped out. So we are hoping that it'll be end of April, mid-May-ish time when those will finally be put in the mail to be received by your CCM. Just a couple notes about upcoming ACH sweeps. So the amount to be swept that's listed on the ACH notification email, it may not include all of the digital cookie sales from that day, but it will include all other digital cookie payments before that day. So just a little reminder, that number already does reflect those digital cookie orders. The amount you owe council could also possibly not include reorders picked up on Wednesday or Thursday, the days before you receive your ACH sweep email. So just keep that in mind. It may not be included. However, pending orders will not be included in that calculation. So if the order is still showing as pending in eBudde, then it will not be included in the amount that you owe council. And then super important, that last bullet, if you don't think you'll have 100% of the remaining balance by the Thursday, April 8th, or that third sweep, then you must complete an ACH adjustment and a delinquent account report by Monday, April 5th. So That being said, if you have a parent and they don't have all the money to you by the 5th, but they promise you they're going to have the money to you by the 6th, go ahead, complete the ACH adjustment, go ahead and complete the delinquent account report, because it's always better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, because after the April 5th due date, both of those forms, we no longer accept them. So it's super important that if there's a parent that doesn't have 100% of their balance to you by that Monday, the 5th, go ahead and complete that. That being said, if either of y'all have a parent that still owes you money right now, reach out to us. We'd happily walk you through the process for completing the adjustment and the delinquent account reports, because it will help protect your troop and their proceeds. And then just another note about the ACH adjustment, it is due by 5 p.m. the Monday before each ACH sweep. We pull that report right at 5:05 and we send it to our finance department. So it's super important that if you do need that adjustment form in, that you go and complete it so that we can get it in a timely manner to then send it off to our finance department. And now here is the end of program checklist. So it's about 4 steps, 3 of which are required by all troop cookie managers. So the first step is to allocate cookies in eBudde. So all cookies must be assigned to girls in eBudde, and we encourage you to use your completed receipts to enter those cookies in payments. Only after you allocate all cookies in eBudde, then you will go and select final rewards. So some of our rewards this year do have choices and size selections. So it is super important that you not only make the reward choice selection, but you also then go and select any sizing. That is true for the t-shirt. I think the socks have a sizing in it, so definitely just go and give it a check. And then also important to not forget those additional patches at the bottom. So that does include the Super Sister patch. So if you have any sisters or sister-like girls in your troop where you want to give them that Super Sister patch, then definitely go down and add those additional patch numbers down at the bottom. We also have those patch requirements on page 22 of the TCM companion. They are considered on my honor, so TCMs can give them as they see fit. And then the third required step by all TCMs is to complete the online end of program report. So it is available on our website right now. If you are a go-getter and you want to, go ahead and allocate cookies, select rewards, get that all taken care of, and then go and complete that online end of program report. And then the fourth and final step is, if needed, complete a delinquent account report. So I'll talk about it in just a couple of slides of what a delinquent account report looks like, what type of documentation is required, and why you would fill one out. But just know, if you have a parent or guardian that still owes you money, you do have a 4th step to complete before you are completely done with the cookie program. So going into more depth, the first step being allocating cookies and payments to girls in eBudde. So TCMs will allocate all cookies that were, any paper order card sales, any girl delivered or in-hand digital cookie orders, and any booth sales. So how you do this is you can come to the girl, you give her a click, it'll open up so that you'll see all of her orders. You'll hit add a transaction here at the top. And then you'll be able to add a little receipt note as well as the cookies and any payments. So the goal for allocating cookies is that at the end of it, your difference down here is 0. So if your difference is anything but 0, then you need to get to allocating and make that number be a 0. And I'll warn you right here, right now, one of the things PPD checks for is that all cookies have been allocated, and we will go and allocate them blindly if your troop still has any cookies remaining in that difference line down there. The only special caveat is if you do pick up additional proceeds cookies this week on the Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, then you will not allocate those cookies. And so that will be the only time that you can have a number still down there at the bottom. But PPD will go and check, we'll go and see that you filled out the form for 20 packages, and we'll verify that 20 packages are remaining. If more than 20 are remaining, then we'll go and allocate out that. If less packages are remaining, then we won't touch it, and we'll leave it as is. But that's just a little important point now that we are offering those additional proceeds for the cookies picked up during cleanup week. So here are some common questions and issues when allocating to girls that we get often from TCMs. So the first steps to check when running into problems with allocating cookies is double check that all receipts were entered properly for both cash payments and cookies. Confirm that no cookies were mistakenly entered under the CGOC line. So the CGOC is Council Gift of Caring. And the only time you should enter cookies over there is when a girl accepts money that will be used as a donation. So for every $4, you can enter one package under that CGOC line. And then also it's important to verify that your girl orders tab difference is either 0, like I said, how it should be, or a negative number. So a 0 means it's good, you've allocated all cookies. A negative number means that you still need to allocate some. However, if you have a positive number, it means that you have over allocated. The system is pretty good about catching if you are about to over allocate. However, there are some instances where it doesn't catch it quite right. So if you have a positive number down there at the difference, definitely reach out to us and we can help put a fix so that it goes back to what it should be. Next question is, do you allocate cookies by variety? So nope, you will allocate cookies by totals and not by variety, which is a big you're welcome from us. And then does it matter which column I allocate cookies under? So it does matter. So like I mentioned before, the CGOC line is the Council Gift of Caring or donated cookies. And again, you will only allocate cookies in the CGOC column if you've collected money donations at your booth or in person. And for every $4 collected, you can allocate one package and a corresponding payment. So a little example I put there was one package would be $4, 5 packages would be $20, and so on. In the booth line, that would be any booth sales. And then in the other line, that would be any other cookie sales. However, it is important to note that both the booth and the other columns will pull cookies from the same place. So don't stress about allocating in the correct columns if you are unsure. So why does a girl have a negative balance? So a negative balance means that the girl has overpaid and needs more cookies allocated to her, or her parent or guardian has overpaid. So I've heard of that happening quite a few times where the parent just overpaid. And so you might, definitely sit down, double check all your receipts, make sure everything matches up. Definitely reach out to the parent. They might be like, oh yeah, I just threw in $20 extra because I wasn't sure. You never know. Sometimes it clears up itself. And then how do you move cookies from one girl to another? So you can either delete the transaction that you previously entered. So you do that by clicking on the transaction and then clicking delete on the keyboard, and then entering a new transaction under the correct girl. Or you can add a negative transaction to the original girl and then enter a new transaction under the correct girl. So that second option is the option that you would use if you were transferring any initial order cookies. But that first option you can use if you do any of the manually entered transactions that you as a TCM entered under that girl. If you do need to move cookies from one girl to another and you are, have questions about it, you're unsure about the move, definitely reach out to us. eBudde is very user-friendly, but sometimes people don't want to mess it up or anything like that. And so we can always point you in the right direction. And then here are some reminders about digital cookie orders in eBudde. So we get often asked, how do digital cookie orders flow into eBudde? So the girl delivered and in-hand orders will show as a payment, and donated and shipped orders will show as both payment and cookies. You might be asking, so why aren't cookies shown for girl delivery or in-hand orders? So a girl's in-hand inventory is provided by the TCM or the troop inventory, i.e. what the troop picks up from reorder or initial order. And those cookies should be allocated by the TCM. And when you allocate those, no payment is needed as it's already listed by digital cookie. So again, anytime the TCM gives cookies to a girl, the TCM is also responsible for allocating those cookies to a girl in eBudde. Where do payments go, or where do digital cookie payments go? Digital cookie payments go into a council account and are applied by digital cookie to your Troops eBudde. Payments are listed for under each girl in the girl order tab. They are also listed in your payments tab, and they are also all listed in your sales report tab. So all of those places, eBudde does a great job of keeping track of all of those payments. And so what if my troop used digital cookie to accept credit cards at a booth? The easiest way to credit those sales is to allocate all cookies sold and a payment for any collected cash money, so specifically like physical cash, under the girl in the girl orders tab using that booth column. So for this, if you're a seasoned TCM and you feel comfortable, you can definitely go use the booth sale recorder and then add in a little bit of extra accounting to help minus out that duplicated payment. If none of what I just said makes sense to you, then definitely the easiest way is to credit those girls by allocating cookies under the booth column and then allocating a payment for any cash money that was physically accepted during the booth. So now moving on, we're going to talk about allocating sales from the Troop digital cookie site. So here is how we would suggest you allocate. So in eBudde, you'll go to the girl orders tab and you'll go to the Troop site girl. You will add a minus of the other cookies in the other column, a minus of the GOC in the GOC. Oh, I did it opposite. The GOC in the GOC line, and then the other in the other line. So exactly what it says down below here and says below here is what it'll say right here and right there. You will also add a negative payment. So whatever it says down below, you'll add right here. And then we strongly suggest that you do add a comment or a note so it helps you remember why you move the cookies. And then you'll press OK and save. And the last step will be to go to the other girls in your troop that you would like to allocate to and add a transaction with the number of CGOC, other cookies, and a payment for any of those cookies that you put in the other columns. So number of cookies times 4, and then you'll enter that payment. Some suggestions we have for this is to wait until the end of the program and allocate all sales at once. Allocate evenly unless used to accept credit cards at a booth, in which case you will want to, allocate those payments out to properly to each girl. Name your transactions under the troop site and under each girl. This will help you remember later. And then also it does say if needed, but I would strongly recommend that you complete a paper receipt with yourself for each transaction allocation from that troop site. So that when you're sitting down in like a couple weeks from now and Sally is asking you questions and you're like, why did I give Sally 10 packages? You can remember, oh yes, that was from the troop site. That was a shipped order that we received and I was just crediting her those cookies. So those are some suggestions we have. It was definitely a new thing this year. So if you have any other suggestions or questions when it comes to allocating the troop site, definitely reach out to us. We can help look into it and then figure out the best solution for your troop and how y'all ended up using that troop site. So moving on, you've allocated all cookies to girls, you've allocated your troop site, it is now zeroed out. All of the girls have all of the cookies they're supposed to have. Then the next step will be to come and do your reward submission. So you'll go to the rewards section in eBudde. You will click to fill out your fun or rewards. And then you'll be able to either click each individual girl or highly recommend that you choose the edit all below button, which will let you inline, select all the rewards for the girls. So again, super important this year that we do have reward choices and sizing choices. So definitely give that a look and make sure that you complete all of the applicable questions it asks. And then ensure to submit that girl order. Then the last, the reminder is again, those additional patches down at the bottom. Before you submit your final reward order, scroll all the way down, enter any of those additional patches, and then press submit. If for whatever reason you submit it too early, you can always reach out to your community cookie manager, or if you can't get in contact with them, you can always reach out to the product program department, and we can go and unsubmit your final rewards for you up until the Friday, April 5th due date. Some important reminders about rewards. You must allocate all cookies before selecting and submitting rewards. You must select rewards and sizes where applicable for all girls. Enter the number of free additional patches at the bottom before submitting. And then for girls who reach over that 1200 plus package level, it is super important that they only select reward items, like the physical items, at any of the lower levels and not cookie credits. So again, if they reach that 1200 plus level, then they should not select any cookie credits at any of the lower levels. Girls who reach over that 1200 level will automatically receive a set amount of cookie credits that correspond with the highest level reached. So for example, is at the 1500 plus package level, girls will receive $150 in cookie credits and all reward items. So typically if a girl selects cookie credits and she's over that level and we don't catch it, oftentimes by the time the parent catches it or by the time the TCM catches it, it's too late for us to actually order the physical reward item. So it's super important that if you have any go-getter girls who are, over that 1200 level, that you give them just one more extra check to make sure that they don't have any cookie credits under them at those lower levels. And then for only junior cadets, seniors, and ambassadors, we will have the opt-out of reward form and our requirements available on our website, so they can choose to opt out for an extra 5 cents per package. And as always, they will still receive all patches associated with any levels reached. And then just an important note down there highlighted, we cannot always replace rewards after they are submitted and ordered by GSSWT. So it's super, super important that you double check all reward orders before Monday, April 15th at midnight, because we want to make sure just all orders go in correctly off the bat so we can get exactly what we need and we don't have to do a bunch of reordering. That being said, we will post an official due date as to when we need to know about any damaged, any missing, any reward items that they need to be replaced. And that due date is very, it's hard and fast because oftentimes we cannot replace after that date. And so we don't want to disappoint any parents or girls or anything like that. So we're just going to preface it right now that please ensure to just give everything a double, triple check because we can always replace it after a certain date. So you've allocated all cookies, you have submitted your rewards, and now it's time to complete your online end of program report. So some important things to note about it. It will be linked in the last eBudde update email. So coming this week, we'll start to get that linked in there so that y'all have it handy. It's also available on our website now. It must be completed by every troop, one per troop, by Monday, April 5th at midnight. It should be the last end of program step. So ensure to complete after submitting rewards. The form does verify that you have allocated and it does verify that you've submitted rewards. So we would prefer for both of those to be true before you submit that form. And then just super important is it can affect your troop's eligibility for additional or future program incentives. So a good example on that is the Fall Product Program Ultimate Early Bird. We do check that your troop has completed the end of program report by the due date in order to receive that incentive. So it's super easy. The form is super short. So it is, and I could list a million reasons why you should do it, but please just ensure that your troop gets that form in by that Monday due date. Okay, so you've completed your end of program report, and hopefully this doesn't apply to you, but if you do still have a parent or guardian that owes money to the troop, then you must ensure to complete that ACH adjustment form by the April 5th and complete a delinquent account report. The delinquent account report is in the TCM companion on page 23 to 24, and it has also a little list of the documentation that's required. I'm also going to go into detail about that documentation in just a second, but I just want to highlight this bit here down in red. So failure to complete an ACH adjustment form and a delinquent account report with required documentation for the full balance that your troop owes may result in the delinquent amount being payable by the Troop Cookie Manager. So this is something that Troop Cookie Managers sign to, initial to, when they are doing their TCM agreement, and it is super important. So that being said, if your troop has a balance, if you have a parent or guardian that still owes you money, then definitely go and complete that ACH adjustment form and the delinquent account report. Like I mentioned kind of towards the beginning, how it works is if you complete it and a parent pays you off, pays the troop off, the next day, we can go and tear up that delinquent account report and re-sweep your troop during the final sweep. But if you don't submit the ACH adjustment form and you don't submit the delinquent account report after the Monday, April 5th due date, we cannot do anything to help your troop. And those funds, that made up your troop's proceeds are no longer whole, and there is nothing for us to do to, rectify that issue. So it is super, super important that if you see any parent still owing the troop money by Monday, April 5th, that you go and complete these to, put your troop direct responsibility, protect your troop's proceeds, and we can always go and disregard at a later date. So looking at a delinquent account report, here is what we mean by required documentation. So the delinquent account report is, like I said, in the TCM companion, and we also have a standalone PDF available on our website. This report needs to be completed with all correct info and a TCM signature. So if it doesn't have correct info here, then and a TCM signature here, then it is considered incomplete by us. You must also include all product and money receipts. And in addition to that, the receipts should equal the amount of cookies and money listed on the delinquent account report. So that is one of the first things we check is, do the receipts match what is listed here? Because if we don't have receipts that match the delinquent account report, again, it is considered incomplete and we cannot help you with those unsecured funds. In addition to that, you must also include a girl permission slip. Since most people did an online permission slip this year, that is something that the product program department can provide for your troop. So don't stress if you can't access that. And then the next two is the ACH adjustment confirmation email and the end of program report confirmation email. So that is just our check to ensure that your troop did complete those two required forms before your delinquent account report. And then the last required documentation is a record of communication. So did you notify them of due dates and try to contact them? Often the record of communication helps us, to leap off and to move forward with contacting the parent or guardian. So we'll go and review that first, and we'll often, reference it back with the parent or guardian when we are talking about their uncollected funds. Next is, excess cookie inventory. If you have any excess cookie inventory as of right now, definitely get it on the cookie exchange sooner rather than later. Contact other troops in your community, post on a group page, chat, or ask other TCMs that you may know. And also contact your CCM and product program. So we may not be able to help immediately, but we do a good job of writing down troops who are either in need or have excess. And we'll try to link y'all up when we can. But definitely get it out there, get that information out there, especially if you are sitting on any excess cookies, because it's super important. Your troop will have to either pay for them or transfer them to a new troop before the Monday, April 5th. So definitely, if you are in need, get that out there sooner rather than later. Here are some closing out eBudde suggestions. So I don't think I've ever talked about like closing out eBudde. Oftentimes TCMs just leave eBudde and it locks them out for the season. But here are some suggestions that we have that can help you further along, especially during the summer when your co-leader might be asking for order information, or next year when your troop is starting to think about what initial order you'll want to submit. So highly recommend that you pull the reward report. This year they added a fancy little HTML report that you can select for the final, you can view it, and then you can print it all out. If you do the fall product program, it is very similar to the reward reports that M2 provides. So they're super helpful when it comes to sorting, and then it's really helpful when the parents come to pick up because you have a handy little report that says all of the reward items their girl should have received. The digital cookie or DOC sales. So there is a report called DOC orders by girls. This is to help know the number of digital cookie sales for each girl. So we got a lot of people asking this when we released the Disney incentive. So pulling that DOC sales report page would be a really great option to have on hand if we do other incentives like that next year. And then the last thing I would highly recommend is to pull that sales report page. That's to have a record of payments, proceeds, and cookie quantities from this year's program. So I do get a lot of co-leaders asking for this sales report page. So definitely go ahead, grab it down, save it as a PDF, and then you'll have it for whenever your troop would like to reference back to it. So here is just a little update on Grubhub booths. So our tentative booth shifts in February have already been posted. So that is, I should just mark that right out. And then booth shifts for March, we're hoping to have those into eBudde sometime on either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on when I can sit down and get them all completed. Right now I have 1 site fully done and 3 sites waiting to be finished. So we're looking good. Everyone send me good vibes on that. And then how will those cookies and payments show in eBudde? So Grubhub booth site sales will be listed by the booth date and time and will be labeled with a GH. What I didn't include in there is that they will be listed under the transaction tab in eBudde, which is where all of your reorder cookies and all of that go and are entered. In addition to that, it will also add to your difference down below in the girl orders tab so that you can allocate it out to girls. If you do need to, reference what girl attended the booth, you need to look at our sign-in sheet or anything like that, definitely let us know. We can always let you know what girl we had down as attending that booth. Will TCMs need to do anything after council allocate sales? So yes, TCMs will need to allocate the packages and payments if needed to the girl who attended the booth slot. And then do TCMs need to provide any information to council? So not at this time, but if we do need anything, we will definitely reach out to you as we figure out that we need information from you. And then last, just a big thank you, especially Cheryl, thank you to your Girl Scout who did it, and to all the other troops that participated in our Grubhub booth sites. And for learning alongside us. This was an initiative that was really thrown out there by GSUSA, and we're super happy of their support and Grubhub support. And it was definitely a learning experience, and we hope that your girls had enjoyed their time there, and we hope that if we do bring it back next year, that we're bigger and better, and we can only be better, especially after a year such as we had with COVID and all of the pivoting that we've had to do so far. But a big thank you again to all of the troops and really all of the staff and pretty much anyone who had any hand in a Grubhub booth. Okay, and so then the last little thing that I'm going to go over is the product program cookie audit process. So this is the internal product program process that we go through at the end of the program. And we're just kind of, being transparent for y'all so that you kind of understand what we're doing on our back end or what we're doing when we say we're doing the product program audit. So the first step is, if needed, TCMs will complete a delinquent account report and an online ACH adjustment form, and they'll submit it to their CCMs or PPD. Next, PPD and CCMs will check delinquent account reports for all required documentation and completeness. So basically, does the balance due equal the receipts provided? Is there a signature? Have they done the ACH adjustment form? All of that good stuff. And then PPD will list out all of those delinquent account reports in an outstanding balance list. So basically how we track the parents, guardians, TCMs, anyone who still owes money. Then PPD will enter our final ACH sweep amounts into eBudde and will pull our final reports from eBudde of all troops and all balance owed. So sometimes in between us compiling our outstanding balance list and then being able to put in that final sweep, finance will be in the background doing all their sweep stuff, and will be able to provide those final numbers to us. And then after all of that, PPD begins auditing. So we'll highlight troops that owe money and determine if a delinquent account report was submitted for that balance owed. Then we will complete delinquent account reports for any TCMs or troops with a balance owed that did not submit a delinquent account report. So again, that goes along with any unpaid balance that isn't directed by a delinquent account report to a parent or guardian will fall back on the TCM. So basically, we will start completing delinquent account reports for any TCMs where their troop still has a balance in eBudde. Then we will highlight troops that have an overpayment. So we're expecting a fair amount of troops to have overpayments this year because we know a lot of them used digital cookie to accept credit cards, which is fabulous. But that also means that there is quite a few troops that we will need to send that money back to. So that last step will be to send a request to the finance department to have all overpayments and troop proceeds deposited into those troop bank accounts. So we will only deposit to troop bank accounts where they are in compliance and they have an ACH authorization form on file. We will also be sending an email to all TCMs of when to expect those proceeds back and how much to expect to be deposited. So if you foresee that your troop is going to need, a payment back to y'all, definitely keep an eye for that email. And that is about it. Cheryl, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am, you've addressed everything that I could have possibly asked. So I appreciate your undivided attention and all of the information.
Anytime. Thank you so much for attending. And let me know if there's anything I can do better, if there's anything I could have added, and anything like that. But thank you so much for being so great.
No, I have done 3 of the 4, and you have all of the information. You're easy to hear and understand what you're saying, and your slides make it real easy when I get distracted to know exactly where we're at and what I missed. So thank you.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much again, and I hope you have a good evening.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.